Hey, Mikey, I got a joke for you that's sure to make you bust a gut, but try not to make a mess this time, okay?
I want to say sure lay it on me, but I don't want to bust a gut, but tell me anyhow.
So a guy goes to see his doctor. Doc, will I be okay? He asked. The doctor responded, I don't know. Mercury is in Uranus right now. You're laughing already.
Oh, he's not over. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. The patient responded, I don't do astronomy, doc. The doctor responded, me neither. My thermometer just broke off.
Oh, no. Oh, my.
Okay,
that one was funny the whole time.
That was a painful joke, I guess. Fortunately, I came prepared. Mikey, you know I'm a huge fan of the stories and novels by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle about the adventures of Sherlock Holmes. But there's one that not many people know about called The Camping Adventure. It seems that Sherlock and Dr. Watson go on a camping trip, set up their tent, and fall asleep. Some hours later, Holmes wakes his faithful friend. Watson, look up at the sky and tell me what you see. Watson replies, I see millions of stars. Sherlock answers, what does that tell you? Watson ponders a minute. Astronomically speaking, it tells me that there are millions of galaxies and potentially billions of planets. Astrologically, it tells me that Saturn is in Leo. Time-wise, it appears to be approximately 3:15. Meteorologically, it seems that we will have a beautiful day tomorrow. What does it tell you? Holmes is silent for a moment and then speaks. Watson, you idiot! Someone has stolen our tent. Howdy, howdy, everybody. It is I, your plucky co-host and all-around podcasting fool, Mr. Robin, coming at you digitally with episode 13 of Mr. Robin's Hood podcast from Studio B here at the compound just outside of Fargo, Oklahoma. I'm joined, as always, by my delightful co-host, fave collaborator, all-around best pal, reigning arm wrestling champion, and raw liver-eating queen, Mikkel Murray Robinson, known throughout the podcasting uni as Mikey on the mic. Say howdy to our abundant, though somewhat sketchy listeners, Mikey.
Howdy.
So today we'll be talking with Jerome and Bobette Doerrie, co-founders of the Starcreek Astronomical Society, a group of people interested in astronomy and whatever else is going on in the skies above northwest Oklahoma. Their observations get-togethers are known as star parties and take place at the Selman Living Laboratory north of Woodward. Please give a warm Mr. Robin's Hood podcast welcome to Jerome and Bobette Doerrie, everybody.
Thank you so much for welcoming us.
It's our pleasure to be here.
I'm here with my co-host, Mikkel Robinson, whom I think you met at Red Carpet or something.
Yeah, so I'm not sure, Bobette, if you remember me or not, but I had attended the Red Carpet Tourism Conference my first year as director of the museum, which was just 2 years ago. And you had done a talk, and we briefly chatted.
Yes, I remember. So
yeah.
It's a pleasure to hear your voice again.
Well, thank you. I'm excited because, obviously when I was talking to you, I was super interested then. And so we're excited to talk more about you and your Starcreek Astronomical Society.
Yeah, we've really been looking forward to having you on the podcast, and we're anxious to highlight the activities of Starcreek for people who may not have otherwise ever heard of the organization or its programs. So let's just kick this off. If you could please maybe give us a little bit of the origins and information about Starcreek Astronomical Society.
Well, our origins go back almost, 15, 20 years because it all started actually at an amateur radio gathering. Another gentleman that was there who was a fellow ham from Australia. And he'd been to the massive observatories and research establishments out there in Australia, and he wanted something similar in Northwest Oklahoma. And tried to tell him it's not likely that we'll have these huge telescopes and these massive research facilities in Northwest Oklahoma, but we would love to get together and have other people interested in astronomy come and gather with us and just see what we could do and establish a club to enjoy the skies together.
Okay. Oh, great. How often does the organization membership meet?
We generally meet once a month, the second Saturday of the month, either in Woodward or out at the Selman Living Laboratory. And sometimes we'll have a cover dish supper out there like we did in May. And sometimes, like we'll be doing a final meeting with our July star parties. Then we'll have a cover dish to finish that up too. But we'll be gathering the last 3 Saturdays in July out at the Selman Living Laboratory. And it's a public star party, so people can come and go. And we would love to have folks come out to those star parties so we can share the skies.
Great. And are there membership dues for being part of the organization?
Well, we figured people need to have some sort of money invested, so our dues are $5.
Oh, well, that's really affordable.
That really is.
Oh, man, that's great.
And it is $10 for families, but we can help you.
Yeah, you got a $5 individual or a $10 family. That makes sense.
That's it, yes. Yeah. Because, and if we need to invest anything that the university does not help us with, we pass the hat. But University of Central Oklahoma has been very generous on buying eyepieces and shrouds for the telescopes and to help us out in a number of ways.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested in the Selman Living Laboratory. When Mikkel brought this up to me and discussed it, I started digging. I didn't even realize that was out there. And it looks like you have like real, what I at least think of observatories, the big domes that open up and that sort of thing. And I understand you have a 12-inch telescope.
And Jerome is the one who knows more about the 12-inch.
Okay.
He was the first master of the dome. That's
I like that.
Okay. And this is a cooperative between Northwestern Oklahoma State and UCO. Is that correct?
Yes. We have a partnership agreement with UCO. We do star parties for them and anyone who asks to come out there. Okay. And when they were doing the Bat Watch, that's what started our July star parties, because those who went to Alabaster Caverns for the Bat Watch, which was led by Bill Kerr, who was also the first writer of grants for the facilities out there at the Selman Living Laboratory for the observatory. And he also accepted donations of telescopes and one of the domes was donated too. So he was the link between the Bat Watch at Alabaster and the Selman Living Laboratory.
I see. And the Selman family, I presume, just donated the land that this sits on?
Well, there were some other considerations with it, but a purchase was made.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
And originally, we basically started our existence as a biology field research station. And it's from that start that, with addition of some astronomy equipment, then we've added the public viewing component
I see.
to our outreach project.
And they also have he wrote a grant for some in telescopes. So someone who's interested in learning to use partially computerized telescopes can be taught within a half hour on how to use those.
Oh.
And those are fairly reasonable for someone to buy and easily learned on how to use them.
Right.
And then they can go buy their own if they want to, or come out to use the ones at the SLL.
I see. And that 12-inch telescope that you have in the observatory dome, are people that come out there for the star parties and such, are they able to view through that?
Yes, we run basically a guided program, but we'll have things in the sky for people to see. And we set up our various telescopes and telescope stations to go around and look at the picturesque and the pretty to see things that do the ooh and all factor. Those who haven't those experiences yet.
And if the moon is we call it God's nightlight. So if the moon is full or close to it, then we focus on the craters on the moon and some of the unusual features that stand out on the moon itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, that's neat. I'm always staring at the moon. So I need to stare at it through one of those telescopes is what it sounds like.
Oh, absolutely. It is absolutely amazing.
I can imagine.
To see the craters and some of the other features. There's called rills. So they're lava tubes that you can see on the moon.
Oh.
And sparks, huge drops where the craters have kind of failed and fallen down a mile or more. And those you can see through the telescope on the moon, too. You cannot see the footprints of the astronauts.
Okay.
We need a lot bigger eyepieces and magnification to do that.
Okay. All right. Great. And when you have the star parties or you just have groups out there kind of observing the sky, do you get people from all over Oklahoma?
Oh,
and neighboring states.
And neighboring states, absolutely.
Okay.
So our members have scattered across Oklahoma and Texas.
Oh, okay.
So we're in Texas.
Right.
We have a couple from Fargo. We have had some from Buffalo, all the way to Enid,
Oklahoma
City. Yes.
And Wichita, Kansas.
And Wichita.
Wow.
Yes, that's true.
That's where my family's at, is Wichita, Kansas. So that's cool.
And I can certainly understand the people in the larger cities wanting to come out here to get away from all the light noise, I guess.
Yeah. The light pollution is a challenge for anybody in a metropolitan area.
Yeah.
Went to a workshop for astronomy teachers. And actually, that was in Wichita Falls for Texans, but they asked the question of how many of you all have seen the Milky Way? And there were 40 of us there and only two who had seen the Milky Way. Because don't get away from the light pollution in metropolitan areas.
Sure.
You cannot see.
Right.
But we can at the SLL.
Oh, that's really great. I live in a house that my grandparents built back in the mid-'60s, and I'm just a couple of miles east of Fargo, up on a ridge. And the night sky out here is really so beautiful. And we only recently, in fact, this past Christmas, I bought my wife a telescope, and we haven't broken it out yet, but we will. And
well, if you'd like to bring it,
No,
you'd like to bring SLL, we can walk you through it.
Oh, that would be
there you
helpful.
Yeah.
Because I have no idea what I'm doing.
Oh, we would love to help you out with that. There was a ranger from Alabaster Caverns who brought the telescope over that they'd purchased for the ranger station there, and they had not been able to find anything through that telescope. So we got everything out, put it together, and went where's the eyepiece?
Oh,
It was not in the box.
Oh.
And they were trying to view things in the night sky with no eyepiece in there.
Wow. I can imagine that would be impossible.
That's impossible.
Probably why it didn't work.
They were really excited when we loaned them an eyepiece and they could finally see something.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But hopefully that, and one telescope we found, they had put it together upside down.
Well,
so they had the mirror facing up and the eyepiece facing down.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, who would have known that a telescope putting together would be, not an easy task. People, like, whenever I see people use them, they make it seem easy, but I've never tried myself. So.
Oh, but the confusion is there are two popular kinds of telescopes.
Right.
And one that is made with a mirror, a Newtonian reflector, and the eyepiece is at the aperture facing the sky, and the mirror is at the very bottom.
Right. Okay.
The other kind has the aperture facing the sky, but it's a refractor with lenses, and the eyepiece is at the other end.
Okay.
So it depends on what your vision of a telescope is, how you're going to actually point it.
Yeah.
So it really does take some. We love to help people out with their telescopes.
Yeah, that's great.
Yes, and we encourage people, if they have a telescope, to bring it with them. Let us assist a little bit.
Yeah, right.
Because when you don't know, you really don't know, and it just doesn't make much sense what you're trying to do.
Right, yeah. It kind of lessens the experience, but that's so great that you guys encourage that. So if anybody has a telescope and they want to join in and they just don't know how to run it, well, we found your people.
And the good thing is, in our club, we have people with a variety of different telescopes.
Right.
So we have an expert in nearly any type you can bring out.
Oh, good.
Well, there you go. If you're looking for a telescope and you don't know which one, you could also ask these fine people in this group. They'd probably help you out there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And one of the things we'll ask you is, what do you want to see? How do you want to use your telescope? Because some people want to take pictures. They want to do astrophotography. Other people just want to be able to see it with their own eye.
Right.
And that is exciting too. Some people want to learn the sky and become an expert on where the objects are and how to use charts. Other people would prefer to have the telescope find the objects for them. So there are telescopes for all of those.
I see. I did have one question about, as I recall, looking through your website, which is starcreek.org, by the way, for anyone that's listening, that in particular, the July star parties are tied to some bat event from Alabaster Caverns. So are you able to watch the bats? How does that work, or what exactly does that mean?
We actually can watch the bats when they come out. You have to be focused on the bat cave, which we can see from the SLL.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Right now, though, I mentioned the bat watch, but I believe those have been canceled this year because of the fungal infection. Has invaded. It took a long time to get there, but the bat caves throughout the eastern United States and now into central have a fungal infection that is killing the bats.
Oh.
And so they no longer are having for right now, aren't having the viewing of the bat watches.
I see. Okay.
I hate to hear that.
Yes.
So for the people that come out there for star parties, what should they bring?
Well, they need to bring layers because it can get cool in the evenings.
Sure.
Closed-toed shoes, remembering that we're visiting out there and there are other critters out there that live there.
Right.
So we do a check throughout the site to make sure there are no that Ralph the rattlesnake has not come to visit.
They've even named him.
Well, I, for one, would really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We make the rounds, and there's so much noise they don't come up to visit anyway. We have not had one come when we've had visitors.
I see.
We've had them when we come there and we descend on it for our cover dish, and suddenly there's Ralph, and it's like, and they get really irritable, and then he leaves.
Yeah.
So
okay,
that's all right. We don't want to offend Ralph.
Right.
But
certainly not within striking distance anyway.
Absolutely. And the caretaker does keep it mowed out there.
Oh, okay.
So there aren't chiggers. There are some stickers that are sometimes out there.
Sure.
So closed-toed shoes, no flip-flops, and prefer not to have sandals.
Yeah.
Simply because the stickers that grow out there. And we have sandburrs and goat heads, which are no fun.
Yep.
Yeah, I just had a little experience with one. So they aren't fun. Please stay away from those.
Well, Mikey and I are both involved in the organization trying to keep Fort Supply, the historic site at Fort Supply, open.
Yeah.
And that place is just filled with sandburrs. So we're old hands at trying to avoid the burrs.
Yeah, because we've gone out there several times for different things, projects we're working on, take pictures. And yeah, we were, tiptoeing around the big patches of them. So,
well, I always carry tweezers with me.
There you go. That's smart.
Good. Now, is July the only time of year that you actually host star parties? I noticed that was the only dates that were on the website were in July.
That's our regular time that we host them. We're not going to be there on the 6th because we have several people traveling on the 6th.
Okay.
But we will be there the 13th and the 20th and 27th. So the last 3. And then we have requests that come to the University of Central Oklahoma for other star parties. We have done scout troops and elementary classes. Mm-hmm. We've done little brownie scouts. Oh, that was fun.
Yeah.
We've done birthday parties and a couple of memorials for members who truly love the night sky, and their family came out to simply to celebrate their life.
That's cool. So you're saying that outside of those dates, there is an opportunity for people to contact you and kind of schedule a star party.
Yes.
Perfect.
We have to work around the biology researchers from University of Central Oklahoma. And some people will contact UCO to see what they can arrange for research and also to add a star party to that expedition. And in the past, they have had citizen science days where they had speakers come in for specialties, whether it's wildflowers or birds or reptiles. The University of Central Oklahoma has some wonderful research they do out there. And then we finish up with a star party.
Okay, that's cool. So they do some other research kind of during the daytime that leads up to the star parties. I think that's great.
There'll be speakers that'll present things, and so you watch the University of Central Oklahoma website.
Okay.
For announcements, and I think they're working on trying to plan another citizen science time, and I don't know when that would be. That one is, we just provide the star parties.
Okay. Well, we can check out the UCO's website and follow them for that. So thanks for the information.
Yeah.
Yes, this is an active research facility.
Right. Okay.
Well, I think that's so cool that we have something like that in Northwest Oklahoma. Another reason we're cool, I'm always telling people, Northwest Oklahoma is a really neat place.
Yeah.
And we're just proving it more and more with each podcast, I feel like.
Oh, absolutely. And the dark skies are one of the treasures of Northwest Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you betcha. Yeah.
And we actually have some people who come not necessarily even look through the telescopes, but just to sit on the benches or lay out on the picnic tables that are there and just kind of breathe in the peace and the quiet.
I see. Great. Now, how do you get there? Is it fairly easy access off the highway?
Well, particularly from Moreland, Oklahoma.
Okay.
And find your way to Moreland, then you go north from Moreland to Alabaster Caverns.
Right. Okay.
1 mile north from there, there's a road going off to the left or to the west.
Okay.
And 6.5 miles down that road is there's a little south jog in the road, and it comes back up. It's sort of a little U-shaped thing.
Uh-huh.
And soon after that is the hill that the SLL is on.
I see. And is there signage back on the road north of Alabaster Caverns that kind of directs you back west, or?
Well, there's actually no signage for the Selman Living Laboratory.
Okay.
There is a red, white, and blue oil field sign there.
Okay. Okay. So.
But it's the only road heading west there for a while.
Okay.
That goes due west. There's kind of a branch that's a Y that goes up and catches this road. But as far as if you go 1 mile north of Alabaster and 6.5 miles west, you're at the turn to your right to the Alabaster Caverns. And we leave a little red blinky light there, and there's also reflective arrows pointing to the north or to your right.
Okay, great.
And we do ask that people park in the parking lot and aim either north or south so the headlights don't shine up into the telescope pad area.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. And how long, so the star parties, as I recall from the website, started about 9:30. And at what time do you normally shut down and send everybody on their way?
Well, by the time midnight arrives, we're usually the sky does an interesting thing.
Huh?
Usually you'll go through a time of brilliant, sharp stars, but somewhere around midnight for most nights, we call it going soft. And the vision, you can't see very well anymore.
Details disappear.
Yeah, the faint fuzzies, the nebulas and the little star clouds and things like that we're looking at suddenly don't look like diamonds on velvet anymore. They look softer.
And is that as moisture builds in the atmosphere, or?
That's it. Yeah.
Okay.
Very rare to have a night that we can stay up until 1 or 2 o'clock.
I see.
So by night anyway, that's about, things begin to be a little less easy to see.
I see.
So we're going to say 10 to midnight is prime time sky watching.
That would be prime time. Okay. Some people come out about 8 o'clock to have a little tour of the facility and to find out where the bathrooms are and to look at the telescope in the daylight. Yeah, the important stuff. Oh, and I had forgotten to point out, we're members of the Night Sky Network, which is NASA's educational arm, their outreach arm.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
So we do a half hour of Night Sky Network toolkits, activities that have been developed by educators with NASA. So sometimes we'll do meteors, sometimes we'll do telescopes. There's a variety of toolkits that have been sent to us because we do outreach, and then I post everything for the website for Night Sky Network. And it's open to anyone. If you want to go to Night Sky Network, just Google for Night Sky Network.
Okay.
It has tools, resources on it. It has where you can find other Night Sky Network members. So that's what we'll do before it gets dark.
I see. Okay. Great. Okay.
Then for the telescope, for the telescope time, one of our members does constellations. Another one will do phases of the moon. Lady does phases of the moon. I do constellations. And the others will give tours of the telescopes and describe what you can see. We'll talk about magnification and some of the tools that we use to help us find things, like that. There's a device called a Telrad that we like that's sort of like it has a bullseye in it.
And
so we can look at through the bell rod that got the target point or the dot. Then you got a 2-degree circle, then another 4-degree circle. And you put the edge of one of those circles on an object then find your way to the next object. So they call star hopping.
And that matches a set of charts that we have. We follow the charts and use the visual. We don't use the go-tos, but our friends do, and it's fascinating watching the different telescopes in action.
Sure.
And part of what we're doing is a beginning astronomer. How do you learn the sky?
Yeah.
What is there to see? And it's called Messier, and about 1750 was a Charles Messier in Paris that wanted to be a comet hunter. So he would see faint fuzzies and think he had seen another comet. So he made a list of the comets, and when they got better optics, they found out these were fake comets. They didn't move. So we have the Messier list that we learn where these objects are, and that's our challenge of learning the night sky. So can you find object number 6, Messier number 6, looks like butterfly. So we like to show the butterfly.
And with the naked eye or a smaller telescope, it's kind of fuzzy.
Yeah, it's kind of like a scavenger hunt for the night sky, kind of. That's what it sounds like. That sounds fun.
Yeah.
A fun little project for people. I'm kind of curious. I know this kind of goes back a little bit, but I know you said that this started about 15 years ago, but I'm curious when each of you got interested in this kind of thing in your life specifically.
We're having to think.
Oh, no. My dad, he was a truck driver when he was young, and he was in New Mexico where the skies are dark. So he watched the skies all the time and bought us the various things to be able to see the sky. He bought us a inexpensive telescope, and that's a mistake, by the way. If you have a telescope that is long and vibrates in the wind, it can be so frustrating. You may not enjoy it at all.
Right.
But when I was first husband was off to Vietnam, and in 1987, I think, I'm trying to remember which year it was. Anyway, the phone rang at 2:00 in the morning, and I thought, God, somebody's dead.
Yeah.
And no, my dad said, "Go look outside," and then hung up. And I went out, and it was a Leonid meteor storm.
Oh, okay.
And it was amazing. The sky was filled like a snowstorm with Leonid meteors, and it was just amazing. So that certainly jump-started more of my interest. And then with you,
well, I grew up out in the country on the farm, so I was aware of dark skies, and I just enjoyed looking around. Didn't know what I was doing, didn't have any guidance. But I would go out, and my friends would come, and we'd sleep outside and look up at the sky and occasionally see meteors, and just got making friends with the stars.
That's cool. Yeah.
And then we found this group of people in Woodward and Fargo and Buffalo, and it was like, oh man, these are our kind of people.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of blossomed into what it is today. And cool that you have partnerships with a couple colleges, and that it's more than just a place to go peer at the stars. It's a educational place. It's a lot of things. It sounds like I need to go. I keep saying that. I've said that for so long. It's like, I'm going to be at one of your star parties, okay? Not the first one on the 13th, but one of the other two for sure.
We would love to have you there.
Then we discovered other astronomy clubs, like Oklahoma City Astronomy Club. It has much activities in the Oklahoma City area, but also they sponsor a big national star party out at Black Mesa.
Oh, cool.
Wow.
and it's in the top 10 parties in the nation.
Yeah.
Wow.
Camp Billy Joe out by Kenton, Oklahoma, by Black Mesa. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've discovered them and go out there to meet astronomers from all over the world.
Wow.
Well, that's cool.
Huh.
And folks in Wichita have Lake Afton,
Mm-hmm.
which is a much larger facility. They have educational activities, and they have people who build things to help you understand the tools of astronomy, and then they have massive telescopes out there, much bigger than ours.
So they have a 16.
They have a 16. Oh, we got a 17 and a half. Oh, we got them beat. Okay. Anyway, Big Red, it was donated to us. We call it Big Red, and we've upgraded it. So a Big Red is really better for planetary,
Mm-hmm.
for the view of planets.
Yeah, so you said there's something at Lake Afton? Is that what well, that's so interesting. I didn't know that. When I was a kid, we used to go to Cheney Lake quite a bit, and also Lake Afton, and I don't know that my family was aware of that. I don't even know if they still are. I'm going to have to tell them, because that's going to be another thing on my list to do when I go visit them, is take them out there. So that's interesting.
Absolutely. And I think Lake Afton has really blossomed in the last 10 years. And the Wichita Astronomy Club has taken that over. And there is how old is Mandy? She's 16 now. Anyway, there's a young woman, a teenager there, who has better eyesight than anybody we know. And she can run those telescopes. She is really, really good.
Oh, that's
and her
great.
parents are amateur astronomers too. And we have a friend there, Richard Redstar, who likes anything red. So he tracks down red stars, and he can find his way across the sky in an amazingly quick way. So we have friends that way that we've gotten across the country.
Well, that's so cool.
Okay, I really have to ask this question. I'm hoping this doesn't turn into a cringe moment for you folks. I'm really interested. Have you ever observed any sort of unexplained aerial phenomenon while you're out there at doing star parties?
We've observed all kinds of really special things, but never anything that didn't have a solid astronomical explanation.
Okay.
We keep looking.
Okay.
She's like, we're not opposed to seeing it, but it hasn't happened.
Okay. So if I show up with my foil hat, you won't be offended?
Oh, no. Bring on the foil hat.
I'll take you on word supply.
Okay.
Oh, that was
Fair
good.
enough.
Oh, dear.
All right. Jerome and Bobette, we sure appreciate your time and the information you've provided for us. And we look forward to passing that along to our podcast listeners. And we'll see if we can get you a real crowd out there for your star parties in July.
Well, that would be wonderful. And we look forward to meeting you guys face to face, because we enjoyed our visit.
All right.
Well, thank you so much.
And we enjoy meeting the public. There's so many people.
Right.
Yeah, maybe we can get some new faces out there. Kind of spread the knowledge and the love of the sky on to more.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. That's one of the things that's our goal as a group.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time, and take care. And we certainly look forward to meeting you soon.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right.
Keep looking up.
I certainly will.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Okay, Mikey, I think you'll agree this was great podcasting today. We want to thank our guests, Jerome and Bobette Doerrie, for agreeing to come on this podcast and share information about Starcreek Astronomical Society and their upcoming star parties at the Selman Living Laboratory. You know, and I really enjoyed talking with them. I've had this telescope now in the house here since Christmas, and I keep meaning to, bust it out and go look at stuff, but now I feel certainly inspired, and I hope to get out there to the Selman Living Lab and kind of see what's really going on.
Yeah, and they can help you get get your telescope all put together and you'd know how to use it.
Yeah, well, that's important.
Bring it back out here and gaze at the beautiful sky you have here at the compound. And I'm also excited to, it's something that's kind of been on my list of things to do, and I just haven't made the time, so to speak. But I mean, the sky's always been fascinating to me for ever since I can even remember, you know. And that was one of my favorite things about living in this part of the world, was that you really can see the sky.
Yeah.
You know, I've lived in cities where you couldn't, and that's why I don't like to be there long term, because I need to gaze at the sky more than that, I guess you'd say.
Well, and you know, we've, in the time that we've been living here after we moved back from the East Coast, forever, you can sit out there at night and you can see a lot of stuff that kind of makes you go,
Right. It's so fascinating. And the moon's one of my favorite things. I follow the phases of it myself, and I think that's very interesting. I would like to see some of its craters. Yeah, definitely got to do that.
Awesome. Yeah. And for those of you who are interested, you can find a lot more information on their website at starcreek.org. Also, you can find Starcreek Astronomical Society on their Facebook page. If you have any questions or want to make a suggestion about a podcast episode, you can send Mikey or myself email at mr.robin@mrrobinshood.com or mikey@mrrobinshood.com. As always, you can also reach out to Mikey or me via Podophone.
The Podophone.
At 580-827-0472. If you just want to get something off your chest or let us know about a UFO that landed in your backyard, that's cool. But be advised, we're not likely to answer because we're quickly becoming international podcast stars. But we don't have the dough enough to hire staff yet. But you can always leave a voicemail. Text us if you have questions, concerns, complaints, compliments, suggestions, or video of the UFO that landed in your backyard. Just don't be a dick about it. So we'll wrap this up as we always do and remind you to stay
hungry,
stay foolish, and most importantly,
stay weird.
Bye,
Bye, everybody.